Hello year 8, welcome to Mr. Chan's videos. How are you? So today in science we will talk about something that are really interesting. So we're gonna learn how to write simple chemical words equation, emphasize on the words, and how to read chemical formulas to determine its ratio. Okay, so these two things are kind of very crucial when you move down the track, because it's gonna help you to understand a lot of the things in science, especially the chemistry side of it. There are three keywords that we'll be looking at. We will be learning about the chemical formulas, obviously. So chemical formulas are things like this: CO2. That is a chemical formulas for a chemical name called carbon dioxide. Okay, and I will also teach you how to determine the ratio. So ratio are things like if there are 10 boys and 20 girls in the class, we say the ratio is 10 to 20, or if we simplify it, it will be 1 to 2. That means in every that if there is one boy in the class, there will always be 2 girls for that. So 1 to 2 the ratio. Okay, so the carbon dioxide right here is a chemical formulas that is obtained from the symbol. So C is your carbon, and oxygen here is your O2 here is your oxygen. Dioxide means 2. There are 2 of these oxygen in that carbon dioxide. Okay, so let's begin. So what is chemical words equations? Chemical words equation is equation that we write when there is a chemical reaction going on. Alright, so in order to have a chemical reaction, we need to obviously have a reactant. Okay, so a reactant normally plus with another reactant to form products. Okay, it can be more than one product, so I put an S there. So that is kind of roughly the guide that you follow when you write chemical words equations. So let's look at the example number 1. So in example number 1, we have carbon disulfide burns in air. Alright, when we see the words burns, we know straight away that it is going to produce a chemical reaction to form carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide. Okay, so I want you to take a minute to think what is actually formed. So the things that are formed in this chemical reaction, are they the products? Okay, and what are them? So once you finish thinking, I'm gonna tell you the answer. So the thing that has been produced are carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide. So we know straight away that the product here are two things: carbon dioxide and sulfur dioxide. Okay, and what actually has been added to cause this chemical reaction? So the reactant here, there are 2 of them. Okay, the first one is your carbon disulfide, and your other one is surprise A. So what it means here, as in A, it is your oxygen. Okay, so what happened here is your word equation will look something like this. Carbon disulfide plus oxygen. So you need to use the plus, okay? Remember to use this plus because it means those two undergo a chemical reaction, and you need to use this arrow. This arrow kind of tells you what they produce. So what it produces is carbon dioxide plus sulfur dioxide. Oh no, the box is not big enough to fit, but oh well, that will be your chemical words equations. Okay, down the track you will actually no longer be using word equation. Instead, down the track you will be using just the chemical formula equation. So the chemical formulas, I'm gonna review it a bit to you. You will probably do this in year 9 onwards. So if I'm gonna write the chemical formulas here for this one will look something like that. C S2, it is your sulfur disulfide plus your oxygen, obviously is O2. That will produce carbon dioxide plus sulfur dioxide. Okay, so that is a chemical formulas equation that utilize only the chemical symbol of each of the elements involved. Okay, and eventually when you are good enough with this, you will be asked to balance. Okay, you will be asked to produce a balanced chemical formulas equation, which is something like that. I'm just gonna quickly tell you. So there is 2 and 3. So there will eventually be something like with numbers in front of each of the chemical formulas. The reason why it is to balance it out. So if you look at this, there is one carbon here. There's one carbon here. So what happened here is, before I do that, you have to remember things on this side has to balance things on that side. So that means they need to have the same amount. So if I'm gonna do this, there will be one carbon here, alright, and there are 2 sulfur here, right? There's only 1 sulfur here, so I need to put 2 here. Okay, and there are 2 oxygen here, one O2 here, but there are 2 O2 here. What do? So you need to put a 2 here. Since you put a 2 here already, that means there are 1, 2, and 3. There are 3 O2 here, so you need to put 3 here. But don't worry about this, you will learn this down the track. Now you just need to focus on being able to come up with the word equation. Okay, so I'm going to jump into the next part on teaching you how to read the chemical formulas to determine its ratio. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 different types of chemicals. Okay, so and also provided you with the chemical formulas. So first one we have distilled water, and second we have barium chloride and copper chloride, potassium chloride, sodium chloride, and strontium chloride. So what happened is I'm gonna do the first 3 and then you have to work out the remaining. So the first one we have distilled water. Distilled water technically means just pure water, so H2O. And element present here is hydrogen for your H2 and oxygen. So the ratio, how do you work out the ratio? Is actually quite simple. So in here you have H2, right? H2 means there are 2 hydrogen and there's only 1 O, right? That means 1. So pretty much the ratio is 2 to 1 here. So it means for every 2 hydrogen there's 1 oxygen. Okay, and if we move to second one, we have barium and chloride, which is chlorine, and that means we have barium and we have chlorine. So what's the ratio? As you can see, there's only 1 barium, but there are 2 chlorine, so the ratio is 1 to 2. And copper chloride is technically made out of copper. As we can see, Cu is copper and Cl is chlorine. So how does it work? It is 1 copper ion, 1 copper element to 2 chlorine. So 2 chlorine particles, 2 chlorine atoms. So you have it's again 1 to 2. Okay, I would like you to work out 4, 5, and 6, and then after that you watch for the solution. So you can pause them now and just quickly work out how many do you think that what's the ratio actually for all 3 of them. Okay, so for the fourth one we have 1 to 1, and fifth one is again 1 to 1. That means 1 sodium atoms to 1 sodium chlorine, 1 chlorine atoms, and last one is 1 to 2. Okay, so that is how you determine the ratio. If you are unclear, again, you have to write down in your notes and bring it to class to tell me exactly which part you are unclear of. And I'm gonna sum this video out by telling you guys did a great job listening to me talking over here, and hopefully you have learned these how to determine ratio and previously on how to write word equation. All right, thank you. See you later. Peace. Bye.